Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to our, welcome. Hello. Okay, well, welcome to our Sunday. Welcome to our Sunday program. Welcome to Bhagavat Sravana. There's not that many of you here, I can project. We're so happy to have you here today. Thank you so much, Manohar Prabhu, for leading us in Kirtan this morning. So beautiful. So I'm very pleased to introduce our speaker today. We have, I'm very pleased to share our speaker today. His Grace Gaur Sharan Prabhu will be giving class.
Haribol.
Haribol. He is a disciple of Radhana Swami Maharaj. He received his computer science engineering. All right, yeah, no, I have to do. I'm running the show. Please, dear devotee. He received his computer science engineering degree and worked as a software engineer at Infosys and as a data mining specialist for Bank of America. He took to monkhood in 2007, and he has served in various projects like ISKCON Chowpatty and Govardhan Eco Village. And we have been extremely blessed that he has been serving at Bhakti Center since 2016, about to hit a decade with us. We're so grateful. He's involved in outreach programs, and he conducts courses on Gita, Bhagavatam, and many other books. He's also a chaplain at NYU, and he has a really wonderful bhakti club for the students there.
Tell us about his childhood pastimes.
They are wonderful and transcendental. Please, 3 big Haribols for our guest, Gaur Sharan Prabhu. Haribo! Haribo!
Haribo!
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamaśloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Varamadam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagarjata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamsya. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं तत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं देवतारं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं। Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for being here. Appreciate the opportunity to share something in the glorification of Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ji today. And recently I was in India for
Just turn the switch up there.
Hare Krishna.
Now,
Is it going to be like this? Oh no.
We want to hear
This
this.
will work.
We can just learn a little bit if you want.
Listen.
speak.
Hare Krishna.
I think it's good.
Okay, for me, it's like an echo. It's not the case for others, right?
Yeah.
It's up like an
Except because we have, it's big enough.
This is off. This is also off. Okay, here. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Gaur Sharan, Prabhu, could you please?
Chant, please.
Hare Krishna.
Keep chanting.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So recently, I was visiting India for the Gaur Sharan by Radha Maharaj for a week down in so inspired by that visit, I thought I'd just share from one of the temples in Vrindavan. And this, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, there are three main deities: Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radha Govinda, and Shri Radha Govinda. So, Shri Radha Madan Mohan is considered as the Sambandha.
Yeah.
Could you speak again?
Okay. It's considered as the Sambandha deity, the deity which offers us the spiritual connection. And Shri Govinda is considered as the deity of service, Abhideya, one who offers us the science of engaging in devotional service. And Gopinath, Shri Radha Gopinath is the deity who offers us the perfection of life, that is prema. We just landed from Singapore and back to Canada. So today I thought of sharing about Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ji. And there is a mantra that is offered to Radha Madan Mohan Ji in the Vaishnava Mangalasana. So Jayatam Suradokam Gaur Mahamanda Sankirati Mansarvasva Padam Bhojam Shri Radha Madan Mohana. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Goswami writes about all the three deities in the first chapter and he glorifies them. And he speaks about how Madan Mohan Ji deity actually played a very important role in Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I don't know where to start, I'm just still collecting my thoughts. So Madan Mohan Ji is the worshipful deity of Srila Sanatana Goswami. So if you know who's Sanatana Goswami, there are 6 Goswamis who are the primary teachers in the Sampradaya. Like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he one sense the founder of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. However, he was in the mood of relishing the mellows of bhakti, especially in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So he spent most of his time staying in Jagannath Puri, traveling and preaching for a few years. But eventually, for the rest of the time that he spent was he practically actually relished those mellows of bhakti, and he did not actually write much literatures or did anything to actually establish a sampradaya. Because establishing a sampradaya requires a lot of writing and organization. He was too much devotionally absorbed and he delegated that work. He said, I always want to live in Vrindavan, when he meant Sri Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, but I will live in Vrindavan through both of you. So he actually sent them to Vrindavan and he also gave them the devotional service of excavating the places in Vrindavan and writing literature to establish the sampradaya in a strong way. So Sanatana Goswami, he and Rupa Goswami, they were actually ministers of Nawab Hussain Shah in Bengal. And even when they were in Bengal, still serving the king as finance minister and home minister, they were completely attached to Radha Madan Mohanji. They built what is called as Gupta Vrindavan, a small replica of Vrindavan in Ramkeli, which was the then capital of Nawab Hussain Shah, who was ruling Bengal from Ramkeli. And they made a replica of Vrindavan in Ramkeli. And the deity that they installed there, that Sanatana Goswami installed and worshipped, the name of deity is Radha Madan Mohan. And he excavated, he made a replica of Radhakund and Shyamakund, and they had all of these, they were always absorbed in the mood of Vrindavan, and even then he was worshipping Radha Madan Mohan in Ramkeli. But eventually, where they wanted to actually give up their service to Nawab Hussain Shah and become actually full-time servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they eventually escaped from Nawab Hussain Shah through various means, and they met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Sanatana Goswami for 2 full months and sent them to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, after staying for a while, Sanatana Goswami realized Rupa Goswami was here and he went to Puri, so he also wanted to go to Jagannath Puri to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he had just met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, spent 2 months, one-on-one teaching. Imagine like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally teaching the science of devotional service to someone one-on-one for 2 months. And he had that great association, and then he was told, okay, go to Vrindavan, and you will just stay in Vrindavan. And he could not tolerate that separation, so he wanted to go back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he travels to Jagannath Puri, and there he stays a whole year actually. He stayed for a whole year in Jagannath Puri, spent a lot of time there and received the mercy of all the devotees and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I will live in Vrindavan through you. Please excavate these holy places and establish these holy places and these deities of Vrindavan and write literature glorifying Vrindavan. So these are the orders given to Sanatana Goswami. So with this order, he goes back to actually Vrindavan. And after this, it's not many other times that actually he meets Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And once Sri Chaitanya, he was very eager that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that I will visit again Vrindavan. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Sanatana Goswami, he had already completed his stay in Vrindavan and he was on his way back to Puri. So when he met him in Vrindavan, he told, you go back to Vrindavan, I will come back again to Vrindavan, I'll see you there. So Sanatana Goswami was always in this hope that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would actually come back. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu physically actually never went. So once he was after many years he was very desperate, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that he will come, he hasn't come, it's been so long. It is said on the top of Dwadasha Aditya, there is a place next to Yamuna where the Mother Mohan temple is now in that. He actually built a place for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If he comes, he can stay here. So in one day, he dreams of Sanatana Goswami. He sees that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears and says, Sanatan, wake up, I'm here. I'm staying in this place that you built for me. And in that dream, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears, and then he sees that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is on top of Dwadasha Aditya, and he wakes up and realizes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has actually appeared, even though externally he is not able to experience that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is here and giving him his blessings. So in this way, in separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the Goswamis, and specifically here we are speaking about Sanatana Goswami, so he was serving in separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan. That's another reason he actually sent them, because his training was service in separation, and in that mood he wanted them to actually establish Vrindavan. And when Sanatana Goswami reached Vrindavan, he was given a tour by Subhuti Rai. I'm not going into the back history of who Subhuti Rai is. And in giving he used to actually build places for devotees, whoever comes from Bengal, he would take them around, because Bengalis were very, rice is their staple food. But in Braj in North, wheat is the staple food. And they would come to be in Vrindavan, but after a while they would not actually be able to digest the wheat rotis of Braj. So they would have trouble after some time. It would be hard for them to actually sustain that. So he would actually gain money and he would get good quality rice and store it, so that actually he can serve all the devotees who are visiting from Bengal. So if he would build places so that they could stay comfortably, he would get rice so they could eat comfortably. And he would take them for a personal tour around the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Today we have buses and cars, it's much easier. But in those days it's not very easy. You need to have some kind of bullock carts and walk and all of these things. And it's not that it was very highways or anything like that. So he assisted the devotees in actually experiencing Vrindavan. He took Sanatana Goswami also for a tour. And he would request Sanatana Goswami live in one of these cottages that are built for guests. Sanatana Goswami was in mood of renunciation. He would sleep under a different tree every night. And eventually, he would go for begging in a few houses, and whatever they came with that, he would just eat, and he would sleep under a tree. He would just continue to chant and hear about Krishna and meditate, and also read. And in the course of this begging, once he goes to Mathura, and he sees that one particular devotee, Purushottam Chaubey or Damodar Chaubey, different accounts given different name. So predominantly what I saw was Purushottam Chaubey, that he actually invites Sanatana Goswami to come and honor Prasad at his place. And he brings Sanatana Goswami, makes him seated and says, just wait, I'll go bring Prasadam from my deity. And in the altar, in the same room, he goes to the altar and he starts chastising the deity. It's so long, I offered you before so long, and you haven't eaten anything, you want me to beat, and he takes a stick and he's threatening the deity. And Sanatana Goswami is the author of Hari Bhakti Vilas. He established the standards of deity worship. And this is like what's going on here. Of course, he is in Vatsalya Baba, and he's dealing with that, with the deity like that. So I don't think the pujaris are thinking like that. No. About Radha there. So he actually corrects Purushottam Chaubey. Hey, you should not do like that. You should actually be more respectful. And he realizes and he says, I'm very sorry. Though he is in a particular power, he actually begs forgiveness. And that day night when Sanatana Goswami comes back, the deity of Purushottam Chaubey, who is actually Madan Gopal, and who was found by Advaita Acharya when he was visiting Vrindavan. The place is now called as Advaita. So he finds him, and he eventually, before returning to Bengal, he actually offers it to Purushottam Chaubey to be worshipped. So then the deity actually appears in the dream of Sanatana Goswami as well as Purushottam Chaubey, and he tells Purushottam Chaubey, you have many sons. So why don't you offer me one of your sons to Sanatana Goswami? He's not having anybody. So you have so many sons, I'm one of yours. Why don't you offer me to Sanatana Goswami? And in Sanatana Goswami's dream, he comes and says, hey, I've been receiving nice worship from this person in a mood of Vatsalya, you spoiled it. he has become now very reverential. So there is no fun in staying there because you did this. I will come to you. You have to worship me. So then he kind of makes an arrangement, and Purushottam Chabbe comes and offers the deity. But Sanatana Goswami's fear is that he is just a traveling mendicant sleeping in different under a different tree every day. How will he actually take care of a deity? If you take darshan, if you have ever taken darshan like Satyaraj Prabhu in Karoli, the original deities of Sanatana Goswami, he's been you can't just kind of travel with him like devotees have Shalagram Shilas and Govardhan Shilas here. It's not like that, you can just carry him around. So then he started staying more in one place for a little bit longer. I wish I knew the history to trace Sanatana Goswami's various places. He did bhajan in various places in Vrindavan, like Pavan Sarovar he was doing, but it doesn't seem like he had the deity at those days. He did, of course, towards the end of his life, he worshipped, he did his bhajan in Chakratirtha next to Chakraleshwar Mahadev. That's where he left his body. And however, that was surely after building of this temple. So surely there must be some history, but it looks like I'm also not historically like I wish I could actually do some research or get some hold of some book where to see at what age of Sanatana Goswami he actually received Madan Mohan's deity. How many years he already lived in Vrindavan, at which point he actually received the deity. It seems like, according to some accounts that I am reading, that he was already old enough when he received Madan Mohanji's deity, and he was living on top of Dwadashaditya Tila, which is a mound, kind of a hillock next to Yamuna, and he was worshipping there. And it is said he had to walk every time down that hillock, even we just recently climbed. With all the steps, it's not easy to climb. It is a very steep climb. Imagine not having that to get down and to fetch water from Yamuna and take on the hill and to do worship and to use for himself. So it would have been a lot actually. So Madan Mohanji was very felt bad that Sanatana Goswami has to go every now and then. So with his own flute, he he dug a hole in the ground and that became a well. So even today there is a well on top of this hillock giving water. Now they have put borewell. There we saw that before like 10-15 years when I visited, there used to be a well that you could actually see. Now they had covered it actually. They had put some motor and they had covered it to some extent. So it was personally dug by Madan Mohanji with his flute that he created a water source right on top of a hillock for Sanatana Goswami, so he does not have to go back and forth fetching water. And Sanatana Goswami, keeping up his tradition, he would go beg some food, usually that would be wheat flour. Then he would come, mix it with some water, make it into a dough, and throw it in some burning coal, and cook it. It's like a very crude kind of a bread that he would make, and he would offer it to the deity. And Madan Mohan was eating this saltless, kind of raw, baked flour ball. It's not like the most delicacy that anyone is looking forward to. And after a while, Madan Mohanji one day asked him, Sanatana Goswami, would you mind adding some salt to this? Sanatana Goswami told him, what do you think? If I go around begging for salt, people will be thinking he is a renunciant begging for salt, wanting to do sense gratification. He is supposed to be renounced. Salt is considered sin. Says, no, it's not my dharma to go around begging for salt, because what will people think of? They will lose faith in a renunciant if I am begging salt. So he said, today you will ask salt, tomorrow you will ask for a sweet. I am not going to get into this game. You get what you get. I didn't call you, you came to me. I told you when you wanted to come that I am a mendicant who's moving around, how will I be able to worship? I clearly warned you. You said, no, I want you to worship me. So then, this is all I can do. Just manage. If you really want salt, you are Supreme Lord, you can arrange for yourself. I am a small mendicant, I don't have means. But you are the owner of the universe, so you arrange your own salt, I don't mind. So then, the next day, there was a merchant who was actually traveling from his place in Bhutan to Agra to sell the salt because Agra is kind of the central place, all the capital was there and people, lot of commerce was happening in that place. He was bringing a boat full of salt from Multan through the Yamuna river to Agra. And right below the hillock, because that, if you now see the Yamuna is flowing a mile away from the hillock because of natural course correction and lot of building and stuff. However, those days she was flowing just next to the hillock. If you get down the hillock, you will be stepping into Yamuna. That's how she was flowing. And today, whenever Vrindavan gets flooded, that's what happens. She flows, she reclaims all the place and she starts flowing next to the hillock actually. Even recently that happened, they were showing videos. And right next to, close to the hillock, his boat actually gets stuck in Yamuna in the sand because it was shallow waters. And he was so aghast because there's so much work. Salt was a valuable commodity and he was going to do business and it is stuck. So how will he actually deal with this? Because salt also is it melts actually. It is very hard to actually preserve salt in a very natural way. It's not very easy. Today we have iodized salt and all. It doesn't have moisture. But natural salt, the danger of getting moisture. If it gets some moisture, then the whole thing will melt actually eventually. So he was very concerned the whole thing will be lost. And at that time, Krishna appeared, Madan Mohanji appeared, Madan Gopal at that point, he appeared as a small boy. And he was in anxiety trying to find some help to get the boat out. So Madan Gopalji as a small boy went and told him, hey, why are you in anxiety, what is your problem? He said, oh, this is what happened. And he said, oh, here is a saint who is living on top of this hill. He's very powerful. If you go and pray to him, all your problems will be solved. And when somebody is desperate, what is the loss? Like if it does not happen, it's okay. But if it happens, then he gains everything. So he thought, okay, let me go up the hillock and then he reaches out to Sanatana Goswami. He says, I'm here to pray to you. He says, I'm a mendicant, I'm nobody. He says, no, the boy was nearby and he was telling how powerful he was. I'm in a problem. If I pray to you, he said, you will solve my problem. He said, what's your problem? He said, my boat is stuck. He says, I'm a mendicant. I don't have any business dealing with your boat. But here is my deity. If you pray to Krishna and Madan Mohanji wants to help you, he will be able to do anything. He lifted a hill, what to speak of releasing a boat. He can do anything, just pray to him. So he prays to the deity. But in his interaction with Sanatana Goswami, because imagine, we're not just speaking about anybody, it's not a casual interaction. He is actually interacting with Sanatana Goswami, whose heart is filled with love for Krishna. So we say, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha. Even a moment of association of a pure devotee transforms. Prabhupada just spent 3 days in Russia. And a whole spiritual movement sprung up from that association. That devotee got initiated in 5 days. Started chanting 16 rounds in 3 days and he was initiated in 5 days. And then the whole Russian Krishna consciousness began from this one person that Prabhupada met in a tour that just lasted 5 days with all the restrictions. So the power of a pure devotee is immense. And here he's meeting Sanatana Goswami. And in that short interaction, his heart was so purified. And he just prayed to Madan Mohanji that it's not about this business or anything. I'm in this trouble, but I'm willing to serve you. I'm willing to surrender everything that I have to you. You do whatever is your desire. And if you had actually brought me here, probably this is your desire. So do what as you please. And he goes back and sees the boat is released. So he's so impressed with Sanatana Goswami and he's so touched by the mercy of Madan Mohanji. He goes to Agra, sells his salt, comes back and offers all the money to Sanatana Goswami. This is all your property. So I'm your disciple. He accepted me as spiritual master. So I submit all this to you. He says, I'm a mendicant, I don't need your money. So maybe like Madan Mohanji is just living under a tree. So probably he would appreciate having a better temple. So why don't you use this money to actually build a temple for Madan Mohanji? So that's when he actually gets red sandstone, which was actually reserved for royalty. Those days, red sandstone either was used by the Rajputs, the Rajasthan kings, or used by the Mughal emperors, only to the projects that they actually sanctioned. not any normal person can use. Even today in India, you won't see anyone building their houses with sandstone. Very rare, like hardly, maybe these days. So he actually gets red sandstone and builds a beautiful temple on top of that hillock. Imagine this is it said this is 1560 when this is happening. This is around 1560 on top of a hillock. Huge, heavy stones. These are not like you can just pick up a blocks or anything. And the old temple of Madan Mohanji is not like a simple temple. It is an intricate structure, and it's a whole complex. Today we are not seeing it in its full glory. If you see some of the paintings which claim to be from the 1700s, 1600s, they show a bigger complex because there is an entrance which is currently blocked, which we don't use. We either go by the back stairs or there is a front stairs that we climb. However, there is an entrance which is just next to the temple. This side is the old temple. There is another structure which is there, and that was used as an entrance along back. That was the official entrance, and even that entrance is like a beautiful structure. And there seems to be like a whole complex built around the temple. And after all the demolition, it's just in its kind of like a not so much kind of a grandeur state today. He built all of that in 1560s. How much money he might have made in that sword trade was pretty impressive kind of trade. So he built that, and it is considered as the first ornate temple in Vrindavan. So it became the sign of Vrindavan for the Vrajvasis. That temple means it was Madan Mohan's temple. Mandir, the word meant Madan Mohan temple because that was the most intricate ornate structure. Probably Govind Ji's temple was made after this. I'm not sure of the historical dates because I'm not convinced of those dates because I have read contradictory dates. However, this is considered the first temple built in Vrindavan, and Sanatana Goswami was very happy. He established the worship of Madan Mohanji, and when the news went to Purushottam Jana, who is the son of Pratap Rudra Maharaj, that the temple is built and they are being worshipped. At that time, it's just Madan Mohanji. There was no Radharani or Lalita. So just Madan Mohanji was worshipped, but he was called as Radha Madan Mohanji, Radha Govindji, Radha Gopinathji. They were all just by themselves. They didn't have Radharani by their sides because the Goswamis understood that Radharani lives in the heart of Krishna. So they always consider the deity as Radha Madan Mohanji because Radharani surely is living in the heart of Madan Mohanji. However, Purushottam Jana thought that normal people may not be able to accept this mood or really fully be able to access this mood. So they would appreciate having Radharani separately on the side. So he sent one Radharani deity for Radha Madan Mohanji and one for Radha Govindji. And the deities actually arrived in a grand procession with a lot of festivities. They were received and they were about to be worshipped. And that's when Radharani appeared in the dream of the Madan Mohan's Pujari, and he said, the king does not know that the deities, not both the deities are Radharani deities. He said the one who's taller is actually Lalita Devi. So install Lalita Devi to the left of Madan Mohanji and install me to the left. Install me to the left and install Lalita Devi to the right. And that's how they actually, instead of one of the deities going to Govindji, Lalita Devi and Radharani manifested on the side of Madan Mohanji, and the worship continued. But in the 1600s, late 1600s, they say historically the 1669, 1670, that Aurangzeb, the Muslim emperor then, he was actually not very happy with too much devotion happening around and temples and worship. He was not very happy, so he ordered that all temples in the nearby Mathura Vrindavan, because a lot of pilgrimage was happening in that area and a lot of worship and temples. So he said all the temples be actually desecrated and destroyed and the deities be broken. So the Rajputs were also in marriage alliance and also in military alliance with the Mughals. So when they got news of this, they immediately sent news to Vrindavan that we are hearing something like this, there is going to be an imminent attack. Please safeguard all the deities. So all the deities, all the Goswamis, all the pujaris, and they all started safeguarding the deities. And the deities were mostly moved to Radhakund from wherever they were in smaller houses, because campaigning military would not immediately be, especially when they are having a different cultural understanding, they cannot really understand what is worship, what is a temple, how it looks. In South India, in one temple, what the pujaris did was overnight they built a wall before the actual altar and kept a kind of a temporary deity. And the people who came thought that they covered it all with cloth at the back, and they kept a huge looking deity in the front. So the attackers thought this is the altar, this is the deity. They broke and they went. And the actual deity actually was preserved because they built a wall behind in the entrance of the altar. Because they didn't have the cultural understanding, different pujaris handled it differently. But these deities were actually moved to Radhakund. So even today, if you go to Radhakund, you will see a Radha Gokulananda Mandir, you will see a Radha Madan Mohan Mandir, you will see a Radha Govinda Mandir. All the main deities have their temples around Radhakund because that's where they were worshipped when they were all moving. They didn't move overnight to Jaipur, they came to Radhakund. They thought, okay, we will hold it out. If nothing happens, we will just move from here, it's much easier. They worshipped for a while in Radhakund, but eventually the situation became tense, and the deities actually were moved to then Kamyavan. From there, Kamyavan to they were eventually moved to Jaipur, and again the deities, most of the main deities were moved to Jaipur to safeguard, and these temples were attacked, and some of them were desecrated badly, and also the worship was stopped. There was nothing happening. Literally for 100 years there was no work. In some places, some of those temples, 100 years there were no worship. We just were hearing about in Gopinath temple also. So the worship was happening somewhere else. And Madan Mohanji, of course, moved to Jaipur, and he continued to have his pastimes in Jaipur also. That the king was very attracted. He was very lovingly worshipping the deity of Radha Madan Mohanji, and his daughter also fell in love so much that when she was about to get married, she asked as dowry, she asked her father, give me Radha Madan Mohanji deity to come along with me. When she was getting married to a nearby kingdom, Karoli, and she said, let Madan Mohanji also move to Karoli. He said, no, that's not how it works. Madan Mohanji is the dearmost of everyone in the kingdom. We all also love and devotional and devoted to him. So I can just send him with you. The whole kingdom, he's the center of the kingdom. Like, how do I just send Madan Mohanji with you? And she says, no. If I have to get married, I have to go with. There's two accounts that whoever she was getting married to, in his dream also Madan Mohanji came and asked for me. I want to come to Brajmandal back. I don't want to stay out of Brajmandal. I want to come back to Brajmandal. It is your duty that you move me to Brajmandal. And that's when he realizes actually Karoli comes under Brajmandal. He says, let me move him to my kingdom. So he also sends the news, and the princess also asks. Then the king says, okay, I'll keep a test. I will blindfold you. I'll leave you in a room with multiple deities. They all look alike. And if you can choose Madan Mohanji rightly, I will actually give Madan Mohanji to you. And she was crying at night, praying to Madan Mohanji, how is it possible? Like, it's just not. If they are giving multiple deities, how is it? There is no guarantee that I will actually choose you. I really don't want to go away from you without you. And she cries and sleeps. Then Madan Mohanji comes to her dream and says, when you come closer to me, you will hear a noise. So you can actually choose me. So when she actually comes close, he actually lowers his hand. So the flute actually breaks. Because he just suddenly brings his hand down. And hearing that sound, she chooses Madan Mohanji. And now the king has no choice but to send Madan Mohanji along with Radharani and Lalita Devi to Karoli. And till date, you will see Madan Mohanji's hand is lower. Usually you will see the other hand is upper. Like above the other hand, like even Muralidharji, you can see either they are like this or they are like this. But here it will be like this. And today also, he only has a broken flute. He is not offered a regular flute. is offered a broken flute, half in this hand and half in the other hand he is offered. And in this way, he moved to Karoli, and it said in Karoli also he was the center of the town. Like usually the kings established these deities as the central temples. It was the main place that the whole kingdom came around and worshipped. So Madan Mohanji became the deity of that kingdom. So everyone was coming and worshipping. Even today, if you go to Jaipur early in the morning, 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. to Radha Govindaji's temple, on special days you will see thousands of people going for Mangalarati. You will just see cars after cars after cars just going into the temple complex. And you won't believe that you are in the 2025 or 2024. Early in the morning, thousands of people standing and singing and attending Arati. It's just like fascinating to see. That people, even today, they just have this tradition of going. In the past, the whole town would go for Mangalarati. Actually, the kingdom was shut in the afternoon for afternoon Arati. They will close their shops and go for Arati. And in the evening, actually, they will close their business, they will take a shower, get ready, take their thing, and again go for evening darshan. It was a tradition that they went for all the artis to the temple. So even today, we can see the vestiges of that culture. And here also, Madan Mohanji continued to perform many pastimes. And there is one Kale Khan. He was there in Karoli. He was a Muslim, so he had the duty of sweeping around the temple. But because he was from a different religious background, he never entered the temple. And one day, the person who was supposed to sweep within the temple was not available. So he was told, go and do your duty. He said, no, I don't believe in these deities, so I don't want to go inside and sweep. He said, you are not asked to do anything. You are not going to do any rituals. You just go do your duty. You're supposed to sweep, so just sweep the temple and go. So when he sweeps, he takes darshan. So he actually feels some kind of a connection. And he says, no, I should not be attracted. And like, I should not be attracted. So, but he was like, taking a look and he felt a calling. And again, the second day, he didn't have to go in, but he just wanted to go in. So he kept, like, within a few days, he became so overwhelmed, he started chanting Madan Mohanji's name all the time. So everyone in his neighbors, they all started chanting him, like, what's happening? You're like now chanting instead of other names that you used to chant, now you're chanting Madan Mohanji. So what's happening? You're being haunted and all of that. But gradually, his heart was so fixed, he just did not care what his family and friends and society was saying. He just started going and worshipping. He started actually becoming, like, chanting the names and becoming a proper Vaishnava. And his wife started chastising him. Oh, you are worshipping all this new God. Like, why don't you ask your God to give us child? We have been childless for so long. Why don't you just pray to your God if you think He is so powerful? So he comes and prays, Mother Mohanji, I have no desire other than you. But just to actually prove to my wife, if you so desire, you offer us a child. And eventually they get a baby boy. And that's when his wife actually understands, okay, maybe, but still she's going about her life. But eventually when the boy was 10 years old, he gets bitten by a snake and passes away. And the news comes to Kalekan. And he, instead of going to home, he just goes directly to Madan Mohanji and prays to him that you gave this child and now you are taking back this child. So give me the ability to actually see everything as your mercy. So how happy I was when you gave me the child. I want to feel the same when you are doing this. You do everything for my benefit. So I cannot understand the bigger picture, but let me have the faith that whatever is going to happen with this child is your mercy. And he just prays, sits there and he's praying. And at home, the child actually, they all are deciding, okay, he's passing away, and they are crying. And suddenly the child actually wakes up and asks for who's that person who came with a flute and a peacock feather. He says, nobody came here. He says, no, that person came and touched me and said, my dear boy, wake up, your mother and father are looking for you. So he just touched me with his hands, and he was wearing a peacock feather and he was having a flute. With his flute, he touched my chest, and that's how I woke up. And the child has never seen deity and is from a different religious background and has no reason to lie. So the mother is fully convinced. So, and the news comes to Madan Kalekana, and he's sitting in the temple and praying, and he becomes very touched, and he offers his obeisances and continues to actually worship. So in this way, Madan Mohanji is considered very active in Karoli. There are many pastimes. Even the shawl gets stolen once. There is a poor lady. She's just around, just doing some services, and she's poor. One night she's sleeping and she's cold, and Madan Mohanji just goes and offers, because at night, because Rajasthan is also a very cold place in winter, so they would offer shawl, a woolen shawl for the deity, and he just goes and offers this deity. As a boy, he says, "Oh, old lady, like you're feeling cold, you have this shawl." She says, "No." He says, "No, it's okay. My mom won't say anything. Just take the shawl." And in the morning, they see the shawl that was offered to the deity is missing. And this lady is going in the morning to take darshan with that shawl. With the shawl. It's like, means how did she get? So then they actually inquire, like, did she actually steal? What happened? And Madan Mohanji comes in the dream and says, "No, I offered that to her for her devotion." So in this way, there are many pastimes that happens, and Madan Mohanji is the deity who offers connection, and Sanatana Goswami is considered as the Acharya, who's Sambandha Acharya. So, in this world, the disease of the conditioned soul is a disconnection. Basically, like recently, I was somewhere where there was no phone connection. When you lose your signal to the phone, then life actually pauses. Like there is like a complete panic. Okay, how do I do? How do I make any transactions and communicate? So that lack of connection actually is like is very debilitating. In this world, the original connection of the soul is always with Krishna. But as Prabhupada says, forgetfulness of Krishna is a disease. That we are so comfortable having forgotten Krishna in our forgetfulness that we don't realize that there is a need for us to actually remember Krishna, for us to actually develop connection with Krishna. We are comfortable in our miserable state. And Prabhupada says, what is forgetfulness? Forgetfulness is manifested as desire to enjoy the senses. So to the extent somebody is like so absorbed in enjoying the senses, to that extent they are actually forgetting Krishna happily. They are putting aside their connection with Krishna. So sadhana is actually that which offers us wealth. Sadhana means dana is wealth. Sadhana is a process which actually makes us wealthy. So what wealth that is it giving?
Why were all these distractions created at the first place by Krishna?
Say for example, the same things exist, but a devotee does not see it as like for Prabhupada, New York was not a place of distraction; it was a place of service. For me, it's a city of distractions. So the problem is not just in the external object; it's also in our own consciousness. Because he had his spiritual consciousness, he thought this place is of one of service. He saw the city as his, the city that was offered to him by his spiritual master to offer service. And he saw this place as a place to offer connection to people who didn't have. So it's the quality of consciousness that one actually sees particularly, and it's the internal connection that manifests externally.
Right, but why is it even created, right? Like what's creating all of these distractions and the counter side,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because the soul has a desire to enjoy separately from serving Krishna. So then a place in which they can actually act it out is given. So because Krishna loves and loves us, and love comes with us, love always comes with independence and no control. When we love someone, then we also give them the independence to choose to love or not to love. Otherwise it will become force. Because he loves us, he also made us free to actually desire how we want. Because without that, love does not exist. And because we are free to desire, we can also choose not to love and want to experience other things. So then, in order to experience that, then you need an environment that can actually facilitate you with that. So if you want to go to this place, then you you actually have to put on a particular kind of suit because you have to adapt to that particular environment. So if the soul, which is naturally spiritual, wants to have a material experience, it is incompatible. So then it needs to be given a material body which it can use to actually relate to the world, in which it can think, and this body and this thing is for my enjoyment, and engage with that. So the environment is made because we have a desire to actually experience life away from the spiritual reality.
So there definitely like is the, like for a devotee to indulge as well as to serve Krishna. Like can that equilibrium exist?
I understand what you're saying. Like, it's not that bhakti is not a path of masochism. It's not like they are not supposed to experience anything, but it is experienced not in a mood of independently from Krishna. To the extent the enjoyment is independent of Krishna, the thought process of trying to enjoy selfishly, to that extent, it is antithetic to devotion.
Thank you.
So here, that connection, that because that forgetfulness is manifesting as disconnection, and that leads to all kinds of sufferings in this world. So, Sambandha Murti, like Madan Mohan, the name itself means Madana is Cupid, from whom we get all kinds of desires, especially sexual desires, which distracts people. So it's that the desire for enjoyment is considered as the highest enjoyment, highest kind of desire, most powerful desire, and everyone in this world is distracted by it. So why he is called as Madana Mohan? Because he even actually attracts the heart of one who attracts everyone else. And Krishna, the name itself means all attractive. So essentially, Madan Mohanji is called as Krishna. The name Krishna exactly correlates to Madan Mohanji because Krishna is, the way Krishna's name is described is all attractive, one who attracts everyone. And Madan is one who attracts everyone. And Madan Mohan is one who attracts even that Madana, that Cupid, is attracted by or is like kind of neutralized by Krishna. And of course, Radharani is considered one who even attracts Krishna, Madan Mohan Mohini. So, if some of these terms are bewildering you, it's in a good way. So you can go back and learn more about those names. So the idea is to actually, our heart is attracted to millions of things. And those things are actually taking us away from our spiritual consciousness. So how can we actually bring our hearts? How can we actually make our heart in a way that it can be attracted to Krishna? So sadhana, I was speaking about that word. That dana is wealth and sadhana is the one that which offers wealth. What is the wealth that it is offering? The spiritual practice we do, like chanting Hare Krishna, be it japa or kirtan, going to holy places, or doing daily worship, or reading Srimad Bhagavatam, serving devotees. All of these things that we are trying to do on a Sunday morning, you could do anything, but you have chosen to actually come, spend your time. So why are we doing this? So this part of sadhana, what is offering? It's offering us connection with Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Mam ichhatum dhananjaya. Why do we practice sadhana? We practice sadhana to develop a desire to achieve Krishna. That is the purpose of sadhana. So sometimes after finishing 16 hours, like I don't want to see it until tomorrow. So it's like we are in a practicing state. Sometimes we are like, okay, I have done this. But the idea of a good sadhana is that it awakens a desire, like I want to connect with Krishna. It has to develop a desire that I want to achieve Krishna. I want to develop a connection with Krishna. And that is the purpose of sadhana. And that's why we chant, that's why we take darshan, we come into the association, we go to holy places to awaken that desire. That I am so happy in this world without Krishna. That's my diseased state. That I want to actually come to a state where I feel that when Krishna actually is not in my life, I have to feel that passion. That when Madhavendra Puri or Sanatana Goswami, when Madhavendra Puri was offered the milk and he got the pot and the boy said, keep this pot, I'll come back and collect from you. So he kept it safely because he had to return it, someone else's property. And after taking the milk, he had like a vision. That's when he realized, oh, the boy who came is Krishna. And he actually wakes up and he first actually secures the pot. He says, this was given to me by Krishna. This is the, means imagine Krishna personally coming and he says, this is the greatest wealth. So he first secures the pot, and the next thing he does is he starts crying. He is crying because, oh, my Lord actually came in person. I could not actually recognize him. What is the use of my sadhana? I am sitting and chanting here day and night. But when the same Lord is appearing before me, I could not. Of course, the Lord actually covered him so that he would not recognize him. He kept the pot as his wealth. And he cried actually, oh my God, like Krishna disappeared. What will I do? Where will I find again? So we don't have that kind of a feeling that we actually are missing Krishna. So the whole purpose of sadhana is to develop that feeling, oh, I'm actually missing Krishna and I don't even give a damn about it. Like I go about like as if everything is fine. So that's the purpose of sadhana, that we develop a desire, that we want connection with Krishna in deeper way. And in that mood we engage in bhakti. And Madan Mohanji's pastimes are many. Chaitanya Charitamrita is wrote by his mercy. I just kept it open, but I will not even go to it. When Krishna Kaviraj Goswami wants to write Chaitanya Charitamrita, is ordered by devotees to write, he goes to take permission, pray from Madan Mohanji. So when he goes and prays there, garland of Madan Mohanji drops, and all the devotees actually become very ecstatic. And the pujari brings the garland and offers to him and says, "This is a sign that you have to write Chaitanya Charitamrita." And in that, he says immediately he started writing. And exactly, he says actually that in that one of the verses he says more of Kula Devata. He says, my family deity, Madan Mohan is my family deity. And he says, you all think I wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita. No, actually Madan Gopal dictated this to me. So he literally says this Chaitanya Charitamrita was actually dictated to me. Actually Chaitanya Charitamrita is not my writing. Ei grantha likhay more Madana Mohan, Amar likhan yena sukher patan. He says actually Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is not written my writing, but the dictation of Sri Madan Mohan. My writing is like the repetition of a parrot. I was just writing what was being spoken to me by Madan Mohan. As a wooden doll is made to dance by a magician, I write as Madan Gopal orders me to do. And that's why he says, Kuladi Devata Mora Madan Mohan, Yandra Seva Raghunatha Rupa Sanatan. He says, I accept my family as my family deity, Madan Mohan, whose worshippers are Raghunath Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami. He saw his family as the Goswamis, and he saw his family deity as Madan Mohan. So we have this connection, we have this family, but we are we forget to make that connection with our family and see these deities are family deities, these Goswamis and the parampara that is being offered to us as a family. So the whole purpose of devotion is to actually walk into a new family, spiritualize our current family, and actually understand that how we all belong to a larger, big spiritual family, and that is the parampara that we are. That Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Srila Gaur Sharan, Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the six Goswamis, Haridas Thakur, all of them are our family, and they have offered their deities to us. And all these deities are worshipped in various parts of Vrindavan and Jaipur and all these places. So whenever we get an opportunity to go, we should be happy to go and be part of our family and see our family deities and make that connection, so that we can come back here in our homes. Of course, they have amazing deity worship at home. They have Shri Radha Vamsi Bihari. So that connection is there. So when we actually go, so they are representing all the deities of all the Goswamis for you at your home, coming personally to your home, representing that family connection. So we have all that opportunity to create that family connection and devotionally also. So thank you for this opportunity. I know it was like a spontaneous, I was going in every direction. There is much more actually, there are so many more pastimes, there are so many more angles and perspectives and pastimes here. Very grateful for this opportunity to be able to remember Madan Mohanji and also pray the lotus feet of Sanatana Goswami, that even a drop of his mercy that we can receive and to be able to reconnect with Krishna better.
Christ, Gaur Sharan Prabhu ki.
Jai.
Wow. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class, for bringing the Dham into our consciousness and inspiring us to connect with our family of devotees and with our deity. So with that, we will have Arti for our lordships. So if you could help, please clear the chairs and the cushions, and then we'll come back together shortly after that. Thank you so much.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine
Shri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Sharan ki jai, Namaskar Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kahiye Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta ki jai, Shri Radha Mrida Gopika Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Giri Govardhan ki jai, Jai Guru Shri Vrindavan ki jai, Bhagavad Sravana ki jai, Jagannath Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Sati Devi ki jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, all voices assembled, all voices assembled, all voices assembled, all voices, Shri Guru and Bhagavad Shri Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Jai Jagadish Hare
Krishna, everybody.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you again for joining us today for our Bhagavat Sravana program. I'd like to again give a big thank you to our incredible speaker, His Grace Gaur Sharan Prabhu. And thank you, Sadhu Garanga, for stepping in and leading us in beautiful kirtan. And thank you to all the devotees who helped with any mic stand, mic echoing issues. That is my nightmare. Thank you so much, truly, personally. So this is just one of many, many wonderful community-led programs that we have at Bhakti Center, and we have a lot coming up, as we always do. So a few exciting things to call out. This coming Wednesday, we will have Prabhupada meditations at 26 2nd Avenue, as we usually do. And just want to highlight, we have a special guest, His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj will be there. So please join in at 6:30, just around the corner, 26 2nd Avenue. Then on November 15th, we will have a special community Seva Day. So we will all come to Bhakti Center and actually clean. We are going to clean the temple and do so together, which is the best way to do any cleaning and any Seva. So that will start at 10 a.m. It will go till 1 p.m. and there will be lunch prasadam afterwards. So please come. All the cleaning supplies are here. Come ready to do Seva together. That is November 15th, so that's this coming Saturday. You feeling excited about it?
Yeah, I like to clean actually.
I know, and it's nice to do it for the Lord, so let's do it. And then a few others to call out. So we have on November 22nd, a community japathon, which sounds exciting. So that will be happening, just to put these on your radar. If anyone will be home in New York for Thanksgiving, or shall I say maybe not going to their home for Thanksgiving, Bhakti Center does have a Thanksgiving dinner that will occur. That's at 4 p.m. to 6:30. It's a really, really sweet group that comes. So please, you're encouraged. This is your spiritual home, so please be here and celebrate this holiday with us if you'll be around. There's a Japa workshop on November 29th, so that same Thanksgiving weekend from 2 to 4. We'll roll that into Gita Chayanti Yagya on December 1st. This is all on the website, don't worry, but just getting you excited for what's to come. Another Japa workshop mid-December, and then finally there will be a Christmas party. Exciting. Hare Krishnas also like to party. That will be December 20th from 4 to 7. All of this amazing information that was just spewed at you exists on the bhakticenter.org website. It is in our temple newsletter, it is in our temple WhatsApp. So please, we encourage you to go online, find opportunities to volunteer. And this, like all of our others, this is a community-run program, so we rely on the support of our community and our congregants. So if you feel inspired, there will be a basket out front by Prasadam for donations, and you can also scan QR codes around the temple to give that way as well. Thank you again for coming and joining us. Please take Prasadam in the back, connect with your family here. We're so happy to have you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.